if they were there, because they're descendants of the Prophet ﷺ. And then on the other hand, to the Sada, because there are people in here that are related to the Prophet, there's an obligation to be noblesse oblige, like the French say. You know, nobility obliges you to behave in certain ways. So there's an onus also on the Sada to behave with dignity, to not do things that are inappropriate. I mean, this is true for anybody, but in particular, more so. It's like fasting. When you fast, it's haram to backbite. But when you fast, it's really haram. Do you know, when you're in Mecca, things are not the same as when you're outside of Mecca. It's still haram to do certain things, but in Mecca, it's really haram. It's much more serious. And the same is true for the Sada. It's the way it is, because the blood of the Prophet runs in their veins, and the Prophet never intended for any of his offspring to be other than righteous servants of God. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. That was his desire. He made dua for his own dhurriya. So no matter how far they go astray, they're still his children, and we should hope for the best for them and good for them always. Make dua for them. Treat them with courtesy always. Because they're Sada. And if they're ulama, then they have a double right. They're Sayyid and Alim, they have double right with us. Their presence among us is part of the prophetic presence in the world. And that's why it's important for them to be people of generosity. The Sada should be the most generous people. And traditionally, they were given money just so they could be generous. And that's why a portion of the booty, the fifth, goes to the family to take care of all their needs, but also so that they could distribute it and be generous, and it creates love, engenders love in the people. So Islam is an egalitarian religion. There's no doubt about that. You know, but there are distinctions amongst people, and the distinctions are primarily distinctions of piety and learning. Those are first and foremost. But lineage does have its place. There's no doubt about that. The Prophet talked about good families. It's also recognized in the Shafi'i madhab. It's not Maliki. My madhab teaches there's no distinction in lineage. But in the Shafi'i madhab, they recognize lineage as something that is in marriage and things like that it can be a reason for incompatibility in the Shafi'i madhab, not in the Maliki. But certainly the ahlulbayt of the Prophet ﷺ, they do have that distinction, just by the mere fact that they're descendants of the Prophet. And that is true also for Quraysh generally. And then for the ashraf are people related to the family, not directly. The Sada are from Fatima, and they go through Hassan and Hussein. The Hussainis are mostly in the east, the Hassanis are mostly in the west, because the family split during the tribulations. And they were massacred, killed. A lot of them were literally butchered. They're very afraid of them because of the Shia revolutions against the Umayyad and the Abbasid power, and the fear of the rise of the family's claims to the caliphate. That's where that comes from. So there was a lot of real treachery, a lot of killing. But you should love the family and honor them, because they're the children of our Prophet ﷺ, and he loves them. And then the other thing I'd add for the Sada and the Ashraf is that those people who do not practice, and especially don't show a lot of commitment to the religion, they always have tribulation. It's just a given. You're going to have tribulation. They have a lot of depression in the family, a lot of poverty, calamities, children. I mean, just you see it. There's a lot. And that's why it's very important, and part of that's all purification. Because if there's not a real mujahadah going on, they'll get it from other ways. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمَ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرُكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Allah says in the Quran, He wants to remove from the family of the Prophet all impurities and to purify them. So they often go through a lot of tribulations. There's books written on it. Maqatir al-Tarabiyin, the Abu Faraj al-Isbahani is one of the great books about all the horrible things that happened to the family and why. And it's really, to me, it's a proof of Islam. It's like Bani Israel. Bani Israel, a chosen group of people. Allah chose them. You can't, it's undeniable. They're sharp people. They're very intelligent people. They're outstrippers in many of their fields. They're great contributors to a lot of things. They have a lot of gifts. God's given them a lot of gifts. With those gifts come immense responsibility. They also have had immense tribulation in the world, because Allah doesn't give anything special to people without expecting something from them. And if they don't do that, they have tribulations. And that's what even the Orthodox Jews, that's what they consider those tribulations are from abandonment of the Torah. I mean, that's their own position about that. So it's very important for the Muslims in general, but for the family in specific, to be aware of their duties and their service. And you'll find many people in our community that are serving this deen the most. You'll find they're often related. I've seen that in many places. You'll find some of the most active people, and that it's from that blessing and prayers that were made for them and for their offspring and their family. But you will find that in many communities. And then if somebody's married to a sharif, they have to honor that. It's especially if it's a non-sharif with a woman, they really have to be careful. With the man also, just honoring the sharaf, because it's a thing. They also have to honor. It's a two-way street, and I'm not denying that. But like I said, the onus is on us to honor the children of the Prophet. Whether they honor that lineage or not is their business. But the onus is on us to honor them.